with the NPP and find out what their own observation has been with respect to the ongoing limited voters registration exercise. We'll go over the phone lines and speak to Evans Nimako. He is Director of Research and Elections for the New Patriotic Party. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Nana. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. I trust you're well too.
That's great.
Right, so the NDC has had cause to complain even prior to the commencement of the limited voter registration exercise, to the extent of filing an injunction together with some other political parties at the court to have the exercise, or even to stop it from starting in the first place. From where you said it's been 4 days into the exercise, what has been your own observation? And is there any way, based on same observation, that the exercise can be improved?
Thank you, Nana, for having me. I would say that for us as New Patriotic Party, we've been monitoring the registration exercise, and we are also encouraging our members to ensure that all those who are supposed to have their names in the register are able to do so with less difficulty. We cannot appreciate that the registration arrangement put together by the EC put some burden on the political parties. We made our point clear to the EC at IPAC. You see, over the years, we've seen the EC conducting registration exercise. We are mostly left with issues concerning people who are not eligible trying to get their names onto the electoral roll. And so we made the point at the IPAC. The unfortunate thing was that our colleague NDC wouldn't participate in IPAC discussion. And I think this is a big issue we need to help address.
Do you believe that these issues could have been addressed at the IPAC level if the NDC had participated?
I think so, because if you look at the CI 91, specifically Regulation 9, which talks about continuous registration that the EC should undertake, it also says that the EC must develop modalities through or in consultation with the political parties. And I think the combined effort of parties make a lot of inroads into decisions of the EC. And so the parties said the EC should submit a new CI that will allow for the identification of the individual by the national identification card. That one, the NDC have gone every length to ensure that it doesn't get to pass in Parliament. But strangely, they can then arrange with these mushroom parties, they so define them, which have been set up by the New Patriotic Party, to go to court against the NDC. That is the nature of the NDC. And so for us, we are monitoring this exercise in all the 268 registration centers. With the way that the EC will adopt the 2019 additional voting centers. But what are the challenges of the EC? We are not supposed to be, we are not the spokesperson for the EC.
Right.
But made our point clear to the EC at IPAC. And so under the circumstance, we have to go through this in this manner to ensure that the EC will comply with the CI. My brother, we've looked at the CI, we've gone through the CI 91, CI 126, and we are monitoring the process. It's a 21-day project, and we are keenly following it. In fact, we've directed, the party leadership has directed party rank and file to participate fully and ensure that all those who have to be in it, where facilitation will have to come from the party, we do so.
Evans, would it have served the interest of the party better had the EC opened up to more centers for registration rather than limiting it to the 268 district offices?
Well, I mean, when you sit back and you do the assessment, you may conclude that if the EC opens up more registration centers, it helps. There's also another twist to it. The more centers you have, the more cost you incur as a party, because you would have had to put together your agents to observe this process, and you have to monitor all through. Either way, you incur some amount of cost and some burden.
But opening it up, wouldn't that have limited or reduced the financial burden on the parties?
I mentioned to you that the New Patriotic Party put forward the argument that in 2019, additional registration centers were created by the EC for purposes of registration, aside the district offices. And so that was our position. That was our position. The unfortunate thing is that our colleagues NDC have elected themselves not to participate in IPAC discussions. The other political parties who do participate, they label them as mushroom parties created by the MPP. But today, they are able to join forces with the mushroom parties to sue the EC. Is that not preposterous?
Is the MPP passing prospective registrants to the district offices of the EC to register?
The NDC is passing people to registration centers. You can find your respondent or your correspondents or your friends or your colleagues in other districts to go through all the centers, and you see what the NDC has been doing. I've told you that the New Patriotic Party is been ready to facilitate the registration process for our members who are due. The law says once you are 18 years and above and you're of sound mind and your name is not already in the register, the EC must take steps to ensure that you get your name registered.
You've thrown the accusation at the NDC, but I'm asking, is the NPP busing prospective registrants to the various registration centers?
I mentioned to you that we are facilitating our members who will have to have their names written by the EC so they get onto the electoral roll.
But by facilitation, what exactly do you mean?
Whatever forms it takes, that we make sure that you get to the registration center, make sure that you go through the process and get your name into the electoral roll.
Does this include giving out monies?
Giving out money?
Yes.
I'm sorry, sir.
When you say whatever form it takes to facilitate, and I'm asking, does this include giving out money?
That particular issue you've mentioned, I'm sorry, the New Patriotic Party is not into that.
Right. I'm going to have to let you go now, but before you go, I mean, we have just about a month to the presidential primaries of the NPP. So far, so good. Balloting is done. Any word as we await the D-Day on November 4?
Well, I'll say so far, so good. It's as a result of deepened and extensive consultation among stakeholders. The Presidential Elections Committee, chaired by Professor Nimako, the presidential candidate themselves, the Electoral Commission, and Ghana Police Service. We will continue to engage. My brother, the main objective of every party member everywhere in Ghana, New Patriotic Party, is for us to elect our presidential candidate who the party will sponsor into elections 2024 with the full support of all members, win the election 2024 overwhelmingly. And so the party has broadened its consultation with all stakeholders to ensure that every process of the change towards the conduct of November 4 primaries is free, fair, and transparent. I think it's the posture, the attitude, and the demeanor of the elections committee that is what is giving us these effects.
Right.
We will continue to consult with our presidential candidate, where the EC will have to come in, the committee is prepared. Enough assurance has been given to our presidential candidates. Their support base are party members, and this is an in-house internal process that is being undertaken. And I can assure you that the New Patriotic Party, come December 2024, will win the presidential election with our presidential candidate elected by the party. We've won the NDC. We beat Mr. Mahama in 2016. We beat him in 2020. We are going to beat him once again in 2024.
All right. Thank you very much. We wish you well. Evans Nimako, Director of Research and Elections for the NPP.